Friends, Americans are a restless breed. We are the perpetual motion people, always striving, hustling, pivoting from one mindset to the next as circumstances dictate. Lately, our ingrained mutability is being put to the test on the economic front as tectonic shifts roil the landscapes of inflation projections and interest rate vaticinations. For months, the metaphorical wrecking ball has been swinging, demolishing the foundational assumption that the Federal Reserve would simply ride in on its white horse and rescue the economy with a succession of interest rate cuts. Those longed-for descents from the stratospheric altitudes of peak pandemic hawkishness were supposed to buoy markets, rekindle risk appetites and restore tranquility to financial waters roiled by batterings from the inflation typhoon. But data refuses to conform to the script as was written. The jobs market adding over 300,000 new roles in March. A potent labor market giving workers uncommon leverage and compelling companies to shower them with fatter paychecks? Rising commodity costs threatening to reignite inflation's malign flare? These were not pages from the expected playbook. And so the Great Expectation reset is underway. Where once the crowd augured the inevitability of the Fed's white horse cavalry rescuing us with up to 7 hacked-down interest rate notches this very year, assumptions have turned an about-face. Now markets only envision 2 quarter-point easings, and even that diminished outlook carries merely a 50-50 prospect of extending to a third such move. A month or so ago, clients were peppering us with "Why is the Fed going to cut at all?" remarks Evan Brown of UBS Asset Management, capturing the sea change washing over economic intelligentsia. His firm is among the bastions revising their calls downward amidst cumulative evidence of lingering economic vigor. In the highest circles, the unspeakable is being spoken, that the economy may be staging an inflationary rebound too vivacious for the Fed to douse with rate cuts. This role reversal was cemented by March's blockbuster employment report, stacking logs on the suspicion pyre that inflation's abatement could be losing headway. Across the Eccles Building's marbled corridors, Fed voices joined the reset chorus. Much too soon to ponder easings, Dallas Fed President Lori Logan remarked, while Governor Michelle Bowman bemoaned the stalled progress on inflation's return to the sanctum of 2%. In markets, the revolution played out in real time. Since December's Fed hintings about 3 prospective easings in 2023, rate projections have swiveled in reverse. Major bondhouse PIMCO now envisions 2 quarter-point haircuts, slashing its outlook. Renegade forecasters like FS Investments' Lara Rame are prepared for the Fed to wig-wag markets entirely, keeping rates sheathed at peak levels without a single cut. A program of once quarterly cuts? No longer in the offing, she pronounces. A more surgical, nip-and-tuck approach may be the limit. Hidden within this great paradigm shift are piquant ironies and grist for meditation on our human foibles. Just months ago, Fed Chief Jay Powell was public economic enemy number 1, the heartless hawk bent on kneecapping growth and prosperity through his single-minded crusade against inflation. His consistent message that restoring price stability would take precedence over coddling asset prices fell on jeering, dismissive ears. Now, Powell finds himself whipsawed by the very thing he long warned about, excessive ebullience over premature rate cut assumptions. As yields surge anew on repriced rate expectations, the Fed chair counsels patience once more. Of the latest inflation upswing, he notes it is too soon to say whether the recent readings represent more than just a bump. This jarring epistemological tennis match points to a core human frailty, our desperate desire for tidy scripts and comforting narratives in an existence littered with uncertainty and ambiguity. Like actor children shunting complexities aside to remain on their mark, markets prematurely imposed a predetermined inflation is dead. Fed eases storyline on evolving circumstances, much more contingent and chaotic than their neat premise assumed. And now the plot has twisted. What was priced as a fait accompli, a glide path of easings back to the palliative Zion of low rates, is being rewritten as new data renders old assumptions obsolete. Those once waved away as stick-in-the-mud killjoys like Powell are recast, their cautionary realpolitik credibility burnished. This dramatic reorientation of outlooks offers the ideal theater for observing attributes both ennobling and maddening about human beings. Our perpetual craving for tidy stories that scrub away ambiguity and soothe our yearning for order. Our boundless capacity for willful myopia, dismissing inconvenient facts, and conspicuous risks that pockmark our desired narratives. Our ingrained weakness for storytelling over sound analysis. Our odd penchant for anointing oracles and inoculating them with inscrutability, only to dismiss them as witless goatherds once their auguries fall flat. But specific human flaws aside, this episode taps deeper wellsprings about what it means to be a creature of inquisitiveness and reasoning in a universe cloaked in imperfect knowledge. The great paradigm shift encapsulates the battle between our aching for certainty and the pruning shears of unyielding reality. It spotlights the eternal cosmic tension between the longings of our tidy minds and the messy facts of existence that refuse to cooperate with our mental models. Within the market realm, this tension plays out in real time in the dueling between those adhering to the outdated Fed-easing script versus those rapidly repricing to an increasingly data-driven, sticky inflation/higher rates for longer paradigm. The debate rages between old orthodoxies and evolving realities. Traders clinging to consigned scripts battle newly rebooted outlooks driven by obstinate data disproving those comforting tales. How this tension resolves holds import beyond just market dynamics and portfolios. It gets at the core of how we navigate existence itself, through perpetually updated assumptions and beliefs buffeted by contrary currents of evidence and events. The accurate reckoning of reality versus the ease of repose in familiar narratives. Adaptation versus stasis. The suppleness to remain open to revised mindsets as new inputs accrue versus the narcotic pull of cherished premises. In the market microcosm, this tension manifests in battles that roil stock and bond prices, reallocating wealth between those prescient enough to detach from hermetic stories gone stale versus those stubbornly lashed to them. But across all spheres of life, it represents the core struggle in separating truth from fiction and possessing the intellectual honesty and fortitude to keep revising our mental facades to account for unyielding reality's alternating caresses and thrashings. The great paradigm shift will inevitably resolve, as one set of assumptions displaces its successor. Philosophically, however, its cycle of revision stretches eternal. Our imagined scripts, always turbulent dress rehearsals, for the great existence plays improvisational realities. How we reconcile our cozy assumptions with prickly new data points defines not just our portfolio performances, but our very journeys of reason itself. So let this episode serve as meditation on embracing humility over hubris, a willingness to incorporate new evidence over cherishing dogma. Let it inculcate vigilance against the intoxicating allures of certainty that blind us to disruptive developments. After all, the capacity to shift paradigms stands as a superpower in navigating an existence utterly unconcerned with conforming to our cozy narratives. For those retaining faith in immutable scripts and clinging to rigid mindsets, dear friends, this inflection point contains bracing wisdom. We are humans draped in knowledge's tatters amid cosmic dramas, where our desired plots are but opening acts. Remaining ductile and eagerly dissolving entrenched theories as new realities breach the gates, this is insight's everlasting frontier, with the great paradigm shift its latest recurrence. Now if you'll excuse me, I must be going. For all of man's strivings for certainty and order amid the vicissitudes, one quest endures eternal and unremitting, changing one's stance in the celestial bowling alley as the cosmic spheres rain down their endless, ambiguating roles.